Hello everyone. Today we're going to take a look at how to find the volume of cylinders. Before we actually get into that, I'd like to review a couple of things. First of all, when we talk about volume, we're talking about how much a container can hold, or a three-dimensional figure. Like, think about water. How much water can a pool hold? How much grain can a silo hold? How much water can go through a pipe? Or just how much can a glass hold, or a can? Which brings me to what a cylinder is. A cylinder looks like a can, okay? So we're going to find the volume, or how much these cans or cylinders can hold. So first, let's talk about the formula. Volume equals pi times radius squared times height. We are going to use this formula every time to find how much a cylinder can hold, or the volume of a cylinder. Now I want to focus for just a minute on this part right here. We said that pi, I don't know if you remember, but pi we use 3.14. R stands for the radius, and H stands for the height of the can or the cylinder. So let's look at this radius for just a minute. When we talk about radius, we're talking about this measurement right here on a circle. It's halfway across a circle. Now you may have also learned what the measurement all the way across a circle is called. That's called the diameter. And at times, they'll give you the radius like you need, or they may give you the cylinder. So for example, if they tell you that the radius is 5, good, you've got what you need. But what if they had told you the radius was 10? Then you could say 10 divided by 2 gives you that 5 that you need. Oh, I'm sorry, I wrote an R instead of a D. D stands for diameter. Let's practice this a couple more times because you're going to need it for today's lesson. Let's say I tell you the diameter is 12. That's the measurement all the way across the circle. Well, to find the radius, like we need up here for our formula, you take 12 divided by 2, and that gives you 6. What if they give you a decimal? What if they give you something like 20.5? Well, you're going to have to use your calculator, which is perfectly fine. To find the radius, you say 20.5 divided by 2. Type that in your calculator, and you get a radius of 10.25. So please keep this in mind as we're doing the next few examples. For the formula, you need the radius, or halfway across. So let's do some examples. Let's actually find some volume. Let's say you are given this information. You have a cylinder with a radius of 10 feet and a height of 25 feet. And they ask the question, how much, or what is the volume of this cylinder? So let's type an abbreviated question. What is the volume of this cylinder? First, we write our formula. Volume equals pi times radius squared times height. Next, we plug in our values. We said pi is 3.14. Did they give us the radius? Yes, they did. They said the radius is 10 feet. So 10 squared times, did they give us the height? They absolutely did. They said the height is 25 feet. And then you're just going to type that straight into Desmos, into your calculator. So 3.14, let's start fresh here, 3.14. Let's go over here so you can see it. Now, you can use the pi symbol, okay? Or you can type in 3.14. Both of those will give you the same answer. They'll be off by just a few decimal places. 3.14 times, we said the height was, or the radius was 10 feet squared, times a height of 25. And we get 7,850. So it will hold 7,850 And do you notice how our units were feet? So we put feet cubed. So this cylinder will hold 7,850 cubic feet or feet cubed of something. Sometimes they'll give you a picture. Look at this one. So you draw a circle, 2 straight lines down, and a little curve at the bottom. And I'm going to tell you that halfway across the circle is 5. And this right here is our height. And I'm going to tell you that that is 15. And let's use centimeters for this one. And I'm going to ask you, what is the volume? So first, you write your formula. Volume equals pi times radius squared times height. I do want to point out the formula is specific to the shape. This formula will only help you find the volume of a cylinder. So now let's plug in our numbers. 3.14 times, we said the radius is 5 squared times our height, which is 15. And I get all that information straight from my picture. Then I go over to my calculator, and this time I'm going to use the pi symbol. Pi times my radius was 5 squared times my height, which was 15. And when I type that in, I get 1,178. And what you'll do is the question will tell you where to round. For this practice, we're going to round to the nearest whole number. So 1178. So the volume is 1178. My units were centimeters, so put an exponent of 3. So this cylinder will hold 1,178 cubic centimeters or centimeters cubed of something. Water, pop, or soda, whatever is going in this container. Now let's look at if you have a picture. As a matter of fact, let's do it like this. Draw one sideways like this. Draw your circle like this, and I want you to put a line all the way through it. Because sometimes, guys, they will turn these cylinders, so you have to understand how to look from different directions. And I'm going to tell you that the diameter, see all the way across the circle, is 10, and my height is 18. And let's use inches for this. All right, and I'm going to ask the question, what is the volume of this container? It looks like a cylinder, so I'm going to write volume equals pi times radius squared times height. We said pi is 3.14, or you can use your pi symbol. My radius, now they gave us all the way across, is 10. So just like we practiced up here, all the way across is 10, so that's the diameter. I need the radius, so I'm going to divide by 2 to get a radius of 5 inches. Be careful, that's a common oversight in these problems. And my height is 18. So now I'm going to go type that straight in my calculator. Remember, you can either use the pi symbol or 3.114. You'll get very close answers. So pi times my radius was 5 squared times my height, which was 18. And I get 14. There's a 7 after the 3, so I'm going to bump that up to 1414. Volume equals 1,414, and my units were inches cubed. So this cylinder will hold 1,414 cubic inches. Then you'll have real situations. So here's an example of what you'll see on your practice. So it says the cross section of a pipe has a width of 20 yards, a width of 20 yards, and a height of 36 yards. Calculate the volume of the pipe. Calculate the volume of the pipe. Well, again, when I think about a pipe, that's a cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a cylinder. Now it gives me a width of 20 yards. So that means all the way across is 20 yards. And it tells me that the height is 36 yards. So a pipe is a cylinder, so I choose the formula volume equals pi times radius squared times height. So now let's plug in our values. Pi, or 3.14, times. Now again, they give us the width or the distance all the way across. That's the diameter. I want the radius for my formula, so I have to divide 20 by 2 to get 10 yards as my radius. So 3.14 times 10 squared times my height of 36. So I'm going to now go and type that in my calculator. So I'm going to say pi times, we said our radius was 10 squared, times my height, which was 36. So again, we're going to round this to the nearest whole number. So 11, that 7 after the decimal bumps that 9 up to a 10. So 11, 3, 10. 11, 3, 10. And my units are yards. So this pipe has a volume of 11,310 yards cubed, or cubic yards.